Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay and choo-choo!
Yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us all aboard the murder train, pulling away from the station. Let's get it on. We have a crazy, crazy, crazy story. So very quickly up at the top, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. You most certainly want to get tickets for the rest of the year. All the shows are for sale. Tickets are selling very quickly, so make sure to get in there. Next shows up are going to be, of course, May 5th in Detroit, May 6th in Pittsburgh. Get in there. Also get your tickets for the virtual live show, April the 20th. Oh, I can't wait. It's available for 7 days after the 20th, too. You can order it anytime in there. You can watch it a bunch of times. You can do anything you want with it there for 7 days, and it's going to be a lot of fun, just like a regular live show, except where are you? Home.
Yeah, home.
Comfortable. Sitting back, lounging, drink in your hand. Bong in your hand, whatever you got in your hand. Jimmy's going to have a bong in his hand, too, because I'm going to make sure of that. It's going to be a harrowing experience for young Jimmie Whisman. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. So,
I'm so useful.
It's going to be awesome. Get in there for that. That's shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, you certainly want to head over to patreon.com/crime and sports. All the bonus stuff, tons of back episodes, 150 plus bonus episodes. Plus, every other week you get 2 new episodes. This week, no different, and you get them both. For crime and sports, you're going to get the murder of Bruiser Brody, the wrestler.
Right.
Very well done on Dark Side of the Ring. Not very funny, though. We'll make sure it is. For small town murder, something very fun, haunted hotels. That's going to be great. So we can't wait for those bonuses. Get in there, patreon.com/crime and sports. And you, of course, get a shout out at the end of the regular show where Jimmie messes your name all up.
So easy.
Even though he wants to get it right. He really does. Speaking of names that are easy to mess up, wait till we get to this town name. But first, before we get to the town name, where are you right now? What are you doing? Well, you're at work? Okay, that makes sense. You're listening at work.
You should be there, yeah.
Where are you? What are you? Oh, you're a barista? Wow, that's interesting. You're making coffee drinks? Well, make sure you're on your next drink, rather than writing the name of the person on the name of it, write something else on there. Then when it's ready, I want you to stand up on the counter, look at the cup, look out over everybody, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." And then whoever claims that cup is pretty cool, and you can be friends with them. Now. So, that said, let's go on a trip, Jimmie.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to Illinois here, to a town. Here is the town, Kankakee. It is Kankakee. There's a G. They pronounce it with a G in there, like Kankakee.
Kang?
Yeah, like one of the Simpsons aliens, Kankakee, Illinois. Okay, it's about an hour south of Chicago. Yeah. So it's, not like in the very far southern reaches of the state here.
Sure.
Population 24,903. So decent amount of people here. Median household income, it's a little low here, 32,265.
Jesus.
Which is well under the national average. 30% of people here make under $20,000 a year. That is a lot.
An hour from Chicago.
That is a lot. That's bad.
Yeah.
This is one of these towns that everybody seems to say used to be like a manufacturing place, used to be that kind of place, and it's kind of fallen with much of the Rust Belt in that area. So,
and it's too far from Chicago to commute, huh?
I mean, I guess you could, but in traffic, it's going to be more than an hour even, too. It's going to be brutal.
It's not easy.
Median home cost here, $117,300 though. So,
and they're not even trying to make it
just very low.
Make it a commutable place.
The nickname here, it has a nickname, this town.
Yeah.
The City of Restaurants.
Oh.
The county website boasts over 160 restaurants.
Have you been to Chicago? I'll bet they have
they have more, yeah. There's probably more than there should be, like per capita, but it's not a whole lot. And I looked at what they are. They have Olive Garden, Red Lobster. It's the same shit. It's just strip mall restaurants.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Tons of strip mall restaurants here. History of this town, they think it was derived, the name, from the Miami, Illinois word, the Miami Indians there. Meaning their word was Tiakiki, which meant open country, exposed land, land in the open, or land exposed to view. In other words, very flat land that you can see all the way the fuck across is what that is. Not a hill in sight, it should be called. So there used to be a marsh here as well. So they think that's what it was. The town itself was founded in 1854 officially. Quickly, reviews of this town, oh boy, they run the gamut. A lot of people don't like it here, put it that way.
Really?
Here is 5 stars. I love Kankakee. It is my home and a very special place to me. I was born and raised here, and I want to help it grow in any way. They love it.
Desperate to make it better.
I will make it better, but 5 stars.
Yeah.
Here's 3 stars. Okay. Quote, it's a town that seems to have lost a lot of its big employer market, but is still holding on and trying its best to recover through focus on arts and community. Close enough to the city to commute, but far enough to know your neighbors. Kankakee has drawn the Chicago Bears home summer training camp for over 15 years.
Oh.
So that's what's going on here. Now here's 2 that are 1 star. Very not good. Here's one. I left K3. I guess that's because there's 3 Ks in it. I guess they call it that. Better than KKK, I suppose.
Yeah.
30 years ago and took a bus to Miami. It was the best thing I ever did. I've been working and raising my family in a beautiful house with my beautiful wife. So leave here and more attractive people will want to fuck you, is what he's saying.
Get on a bus.
Get on a bus.
Out.
letting the days go by, enjoying the sun. Get out of there no matter what. 4 exclamation points. But he hasn't been there in 30 years, so what the hell does he know?
30 years ago, it was real bad.
It couldn't have got better, probably. Here's 1 star. Okay, 1 star. So much crime and lots of gang-related shootings every day now.
Really?
Every day. 24,000 people. Every day. I don't see how that's possible. All that is left to do in town is buy drugs. That's an activity. No good, and the good is all capitalized. No good jobs, really. Everybody is in a gang nowadays or sells drugs. Everybody. All the people, old people there.
Why is that such a... Why does everybody go to that? Like,
I don't know. Because it's easy to say.
Yeah, I guess.
Everybody's in a gang or selling drugs. That's the problem. Really?
Never heard of that.
Probably not. If you don't have a gun, you better get one. That's what it says here. So, yeah.
Woke up this morning.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are... they're sitting in their house paranoid and probably don't live a very fun life. So, just from the no good, everybody's in a gang or sells drugs. Just the everybody, the sweeping, not more gang activity than I'd like to see, or that kind of sucks. There's been some of every single person I know is in a fucking gang trying to sell me meth. I hate it. So, Rhubarb Festival are things to do here.
Okay, yeah.
The old Rhubarb Festival, it's the 33rd edition of the Rhubarb Festival.
Run a whole festival surrounding that awful vegetable.
Join us as we celebrate the pie plant.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, when your rhubarb requires of something else to make it edible, i.e. strawberry, it's a bad plant. Stop it.
Yeah, it needs a better tasting fruit in there is the problem. Yeah, that's the deal. It needs a good tasting fruit to mix in with this shit. Live entertainment, great food, vendors, old car display, and more. Okay, now there's that, and then there is the Merchant Street Music Fest.
Okay, now we're talking. You're close to Chicago. You can get it booming.
Let's see what's booming here. 2-day music festival and arts festival here. Blah, blah, blah. It features celebration featuring local, regional, and national music talent on 3 stages. Oh, wow. It says Kankakee is located 60 miles south of Chicago and is a multicultural blend. Its convenience to Chicago and Champaign makes it an ideal location. Okay. 2020, I don't have the 2023 lineup, but the 2022 lineup featured the headliners, the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had remember that song they had from 1978?
Right.
Can you do the hip it to the hoppa one hip hop and do that one more time?
One more again.
Okay, again. Can you start doing like Wu-Tang or something? Because this is boring now. Can you? This sucks.
This is a far cry from Lollapalooza already.
Fuck. Mother Folk?
Nope.
That's the second band. Maggie Speaks? I hope she does because she's fucking on a stage with a microphone. She better fucking say something. Get something out, Mags.
It's Sugar Hill Gang, and then it gets worse.
And then they're the headliners, Jimmy. That's what I mean.
Boy.
They're the top one. 2021 headliner, Tony. So Tony has certainly done it again.
How are you 60 miles from Chicago and 30 years behind them?
40 and then 30. The Michigan Rattlers. It's like a bad football team.
Yeah.
The Fuzzy Jeffries and the Kings of Memphis.
I could do this all day.
Tedious and brief. That's hilarious. We're boring, but we'll keep it short, is what that says.
Don't worry, we're almost done.
Dallas Ugly. Well, that's just honest. Good for you,
Yeah.
folks. That's nice. What else is here? Jesse Cotton Stone Band. Is it a stone band or are you Jesse Cotton Stoned? I'm not sure. The locals, the Southside Social Club, the Silhouettes, Fruitland Jackson. It's
not getting any better.
Michael Rockert, like Rockert.
Yeah.
John Prime Time, not Prime Time, Prime Time. Dion sent him a cease and desist. Probably here. Dion said, not so fast.
It was Neon John.
Neon John Prime Time. Oh, man. Year before, they had Dorothy Roberson as Tina Turner in a tribute to Tina Turner.
As Tina Turner.
And the unified voices of Kankakee, which must have been a very stirring.
Jesus Christ.
Very stirring.
This is so
1.21 gigawatts is one of them. Back to the Future reference.
Yeah, not bad.
That's enough, I think, for those bands.
I think so, man. I do this all day. I could listen to everyone.
There's also, hold on, there's also DJ Jason will be there. So there you go. That's the last one I got to say. DJ Jason. Holy shit.
He's so creative.
What does he do? Bar mitzvahs and shit? Like DJ Jason? Hey, kids, DJ Jason is here, and he's like, hey, guys. That said.
He better at least have a Jason mask or some shit.
That said, now that you're all fucking out of breath from the Sugar Hill Gang's performance, we have for you, let's talk about a murder here. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's go back to 1987. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about September 2nd, 1987. All right. Yeah. Talk about a guy here named Stephen B. Small. Mm-hmm. James B. Tall. Stephen B. Small. Jimmy B. Small. Jimmy B. Bearded. He was born in Chicago. He's 40 years old in 1987. Born in Chicago. His father had died. He's still got a mom. Now, this morning, it's 12:30 a.m. on September 2nd, okay? So, middle of the night. The phone rings. Weird, okay? So, Ramsey, who is his son, 15-year-old son, he answers the phone here, and a deep voice is on the phone, and this deep voice is saying that they're with the Kankakee Police Department. Mm-hmm. So, this is the police department, and he said there's been a break-in at the Bradley house, which is... Stephen is working on a Frank Lloyd Wright designed house that's in town, known as the Bradley House, and he is restoring it and going to turn it into a museum type of place.
So the cops are calling me to tell me there's a. Why don't y'all go?
Because they call the owner still when there's a break, and the owner will come down to secure the locks and all that kind of shit. You know, because if they've broken locks or whatever. So
the cops are there. Is what you're telling me.
Then they would also need to catalog if something was stolen. You know, they need the owner there. So they say Stephen Small. They ask to speak to him. The kid wakes his dad up. Stephen wakes up. He says, oh, shit, okay. Talks to him. The kid went back and laid down. He said shortly after he saw his father walk past his room, and then he heard the garage door open and close.
As he left. Yep.
As he left. So this makes sense. Now, Small, got to give you some history of Small because it's kind of important in this small town dynamic and politics of the thing here. Small is the great-grandson of Governor Len Small, who was a two-term Illinois governor from 1921 to 1929. So that's a lot. His aunt, Jean Small, is the editor and publisher at the time of the Kankakee Daily Journal, the newspaper. His father and his late uncle developed a newspaper and broadcasting conglomerate with a shitload of holdings. Like, this family is fucking loaded. They have all these media interests. They split, those partners split in 1969, and the broadcasting business called Mid-America Media branched out into cable television, and Small's mother was the chairman and chief executive officer of Mid-American, and they sold the firm to three separate transactions in 86. So that's probably to a bigger, all these regional cable companies were swallowed up by the big ones.
Sure.
So they probably made a shitload of money, and they did because the purchase prices totaled $64.3 million.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, according to this. So that is hot shit. So he's got a lot of money, and his family's got money. They come from money. They have a lot of business interests. He does very well.
The guy's got a Frank Lloyd Wright, for Christ's sake.
That's what I mean. He's restoring a Frank Lloyd Wright house. People around town said it was pretty obvious that Stephen was pretty wealthy. He had two Mercedes that were brand new and had a Ferrari.
Oh.
And
in 87.
In 87, like a Magnum PI Ferrari or like a Don Johnson Ferrari. So he also owns a very nice boat that he rides around the Kankakee River with his sons on. So people see him. He's the director of the Kankakee Historical Society, and like I said, been restoring the Frank Lloyd Wright home. They said that, quote, he was really excited about renovating this old Frank Lloyd Wright house. He also bought a big house across the street from it and remodeled that.
He's got the sprinkler and the fucking neighbor of it.
Let's
That's
make it all
awesome.
nice. He's
Yeah.
going to buy the whole neighborhood. So he bought it after a restaurant called Yesteryear had went out of business there. So he's going to turn it into a museum for paintings and antiques. Okay. So longtime interest in antiques for Stephen Small. His home was completely furnished with antiques. The home he lives in with his wife is a restored 3-story Victorian that's more than 75 years old. He and his wife are high school sweethearts who went to school together and went to the prom. They were married after college. Like, it's this typical...
What a beautiful life.
Yeah, they had this amazing life that we'd never figured out for ourselves. We could never do that. He married Nancy Peterson, and so his wife is Nancy, and they have 3 sons, Ramsey, and then they have 10-year-old twins at the time in 1987.
Jesus.
So, yeah, oof. He was a graduate of Lake Forest Academy in Illinois and Mark Hopkins College in Vermont. Not Johns Hopkins, Mark Hopkins. He attended Drake University and also for graduate school and the Brooks Institute of Santa Barbara as well.
The man has so much college education.
He's got a lot, man. Stephen himself joined Kankakee Cable, one of the Mid-America properties, in 1966. In 72, he was promoted to program director, so he was picking what went on TV in that area. That's pretty fucking cool. That's awesome. I wanted that job when I was a kid. And in 73, he became manager, and then he became vice president of Mid-America and its subsidiaries, and he held that post until they sold it the year before. Mm-hmm. So he's doing very well. Very well. Yeah, it was $23.3 million is the one transaction, 39.9. Holy fuck, man. So the home they live in, him and his wife, won the national honors in the 1975 Burlington House Awards for Interiors. So they live
inside of his house has an award.
Yeah, they live in that kind of, because it's all in antiques. Everything he does.
Better Homes and Garden House. That's awesome.
Fucking insane. So they lived there on September, like we said, 2nd, 87, 12:30. He gets this call, and he's running out to check on his Frank Lloyd Wright house. All right? So he leaves. Everybody else goes back to sleep. They figure he'll be back soon. 3:30 a.m., the phone rings again.
Yeah.
And Ramsey, the son, picks it up again. And and in a couple of moments, his mom, Nancy, gets on the line as well. Now, Ramsey will say that the voice he heard this time was different from the 12:30 caller's voice. Oh. Different person. So Nancy Small gets a call, and it's an unidentified male who tells her that Stephen, your husband, has been kidnapped.
Oh.
We've kidnapped him. Then she heard Stephen's voice telling her that he'd been handcuffed and put inside a box.
Oh, boy.
Okay? Buried under what he believes is a few feet of sandy ground.
Uh-huh.
He said, quote, this is what he said, quote, I'm inside some, I guess, a box. It's under a couple of feet of sand or something, like underground, and I want you to get $1 million.
Okay.
He said, I've got some handcuffs on, and I'm inside this box. After the word box, by the way, you hear a voice over him, behind him, say grave, instead of box. So he said, I want you to get $1 million. There's 48 hours of air for me. Okay. So apparently her husband's in a box with a 48-hour air supply, and she's got to get $1 million at 3:30 in the morning to make him not be killed, I suppose.
Right.
This is a James Bond plot. Like, this is fucking insane. So he told his wife to contact the family attorney and investment manager and obtain $1 million for ransom, get whatever they want. So she contacted family members and also the banks. By the way, if you try to get $1 million in cash, that gets reported to agencies. Sure. Like, if you spend more than $10,000 in cash on something, that's reported to a federal agency.
Sure is. Yep.
So that's a thing that happens. So that this does too. So between that, family members with power, this word gets to police, and FBI agents are also notified. So nothing. They have to wait.
Okay.
They just wait. They sit and they wait. Time goes by. 5:03 p.m. finally.
Oh, my God. That's
14 hours later.
Yeah.
She receives another call, Nancy does, from an unidentified male. She heard now her husband giving her directions for the delivery of the ransom money.
Okay.
According to Stephen's voice, she would receive a map in the mail with which to find him if everything checks out. That's what he said. So the money was raised. They got a quick $1 million, which is pretty amazing, and they were prepared to pay the ransom. But the quality of there was clearly a tape recording that was played, and the quality was so poor that she had already got the money by the time the tape this came on. So she had it. Yeah. She was wondering. She just wanted instructions for delivery.
Just tell me where to go. Yeah.
She couldn't understand all the instructions because the tape was garbled.
Yeah.
So she said, I could hear another voice in the background swearing. Then I realized,
figure out the fucking technology.
Yeah, he said. Then I realized it was Steve's voice under it, and he was trying to give me directions, and she couldn't understand him. So that's pretty fucking interesting. He was trying to give me instructions. So a transcript, because the FBI has tapped her phones and all that by now. A transcript from one said the kidnapper. You can hear the kidnapper telling Stephen Small over the phone here, if she pays the money, you'll be set free. But if she don't, you're dead. And I ain't coming back to dig you back up. You got 2 days of air. That's it. And it's going to get real stuffy in here.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, this is fucking wild.
And
so
we're relying on the fucking postal service to get the instructions?
You get something in the mail.
I got 48 hours, man.
It could be 3 weeks. Yeah, remember we tried to, you send something 80 miles, it takes a month. So they were, the FBI traced the call. This guy's rich and important because the FBI is there with trace shit set up within 12 hours of him disappearing.
Right.
They didn't say, maybe he's full of shit. If this was me or you, they'd be like, he might be full of shit. Wait a couple days and see if he comes back.
That's who owns Frank Lloyd Wright houses.
Yes. People who the FBI spring into action for. Yeah. So, or anybody, law enforcement of any kind. So they trace this call to a telephone booth at a service station in Aroma Park in Kankakee. Okay? Now, 5:40 p.m., Jean Alice Small, the aunt who owns the newspaper there, she called the Small home to say, I just got off the phone with somebody. I just got a call, and it's pretty crazy here. She said an unidentified male called me and said that he knew the small phone was tapped, and the caller told Gene Small that he makes his living from wealthy people who live in small towns, kidnaps them and shit. The caller told Gene Small that Stephen was buried in the ground, and if this guy calling, if I see any cops, there's going to be a shootout or a bloodbath, and he would leave town, and Mrs. Small would never know where her husband was buried, and he'd die after 2 days of no air. So the caller then also called back to threaten to kill Jean and her husband as well in the event that she fucks up. Don't fuck this up or I'll kill you and your husband.
You in a grave too.
This is crazy. So she calls and said, this just happened to me. Turns out the kidnapper was frustrated that the other one, that Nancy couldn't understand the direction, so they called her. We're like, listen, your phone's not tapped. Let me complain for a while. The car they're looking for is a maroon 1987 Mercedes-Benz, and it is recovered by police at 7 p.m. in the area of Aroma Park, a small town south of Kankakee. All right, so they said the family, now he's missing, his car's been found. They're freaking out. They release a statement. We're just desperate for him to get back alive. He's a wonderful person. He's a fine man. This is absolutely tragic, whatever's going on. This shouldn't happen to anyone, including Stephen. Well, we lumped him in with anyone. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. And then also an attorney who was an acquaintance of Stephen said he's stunned and, quote, this isn't the sort of thing that happens here. Okay. Not a lot of, apparently, like the reviews up top there.
That's a lot of shows that we've done where this never happened.
Where this never happened, which is this is exactly why we do the show.
Right.
Because that's what's amazing is everybody's comfortable and happy. Oh, no, they're not. Watch out. Someone's going to kill you. So another friend described him as unassuming, not the kind of guy to bother people, mild-mannered. That's the best way to describe him. So they, like we said, the teletype messages were going to law enforcement about finding that money. So everybody, was involved. A neighbor learned that the car was missing in the morning, and the neighbor is a county sheriff's deputy who lives around the corner from the Smalls' house. and she reported to her supervisor that she heard a car pull up near the front of her home at about 3 o'clock that morning. When she looked out the window, she saw the car had been stopped on the road. She saw it pull away, and a white customized van with large windows in the driver's side also pulled away from where it had been parked earlier.
Okay.
So this is very
got it. Yeah.
plot. Yeah. The driver of the van pulled out behind the car before this lady, the deputy, could get a license plate number, but she noted the van had no front bumper. So there's that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, 11:28 p.m. that night. The last call has been the 503 call, and then the call to the aunt. So 11:28, Nancy receives a call from another. It's a ransom call again. The call, this call is also traced to a telephone booth in Aroma Park, although not the one that the 503 call originated from. So they went to a different payphone. This is the wild part. FBI agent Mike Evans and his partner arrived at the telephone booth shortly after the 11:28 telephone call was placed. They saw a white male at the telephone. He also saw an automobile in the area of the booth and wrote the license plate number down.
Good.
They saw a white female with shoulder-length blonde hair in the driver's seat of the automobile. After the call was made, they saw the automobile make a U-turn and drive away. They attempted to follow the car but lost it almost immediately. Good work, FBI. Good job on that one. 11:46 p.m., a fourth ransom call is made to the small home.
In the same area?
Well, we'll get to that. The call originated from a public telephone booth in Kankakee, which was, there's 3 phone booths, 3 in the entire area. They have 2 of them under surveillance. Which one do you think this phone call came from?
The other one?
The other one. Yes, absolutely. So the male caller this time tells Mrs. Small, quote, "You fucked up. You called the police. You fucked up. You fucked up." He keeps saying you fucked up. And she keeps saying, well, I'd love to give you ransom money. Where can I leave it? And he keeps refusing it and just saying, you fucked up. You called police. Jesus Christ. So the guys who were doing the payphone shit, at 11:30, they received a radio message from the dispatch that advised them a call is currently being made to the Small residence from the payphone. Wasn't one of the ones under surveillance. So they went to the third phone there and found them.
Nobody's there.
No, they do. They observe a dark-colored car with Illinois license plate SZG 507 parked approximately 15 feet from the telephone. White female with blonde hair in the driver's seat. So there you go. At 11:50 p.m., an Illinois state police officer saw the same automobile spotted by Agent Evans with its trunk partially open, driving away from Kankakee toward Aroma Park. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Okay, FBI Special Agent Elizabeth Lamanna testifies then at 12:30 a.m., so another hour, here on September 3rd now. She and her partner were exiting the parking lot of a convenient food mart in Aroma Park when she observed a blue Buick drive past. The passenger was a white female in her early 20s with blonde hair. The woman turned and looked at Agent Lamanna and had a, quote, look of fright or panic on her face. Like, oh shit, cops. When the car passed, the woman turned completely around and stared at them out of the back window.
And looked back.
Very subtle. Not a little move your eyes and look out the side view. Let's just turn around like an 8-year-old waving goodbye to her best friend because they're moving out of town.
What are you, 17 and have a nickel bag in the fucking glove box?
Jesus, that is terrible. The police department ran a check on the license plate number, and they find it is registered to a 26-year-old woman named Nancy Risch, R-I-S-H.
Okay.
And her boyfriend is a guy named Daniel Edwards, who's 31. The reveal that the automobile's registered to them, their address was 920 South Greenwood, Kankakee. But you figure, well, if someone was willing to kidnap an important person and possibly kill them, they probably wouldn't mind stealing a car either. So you don't know if that's her or not.
Good point.
Let's go talk to her. Now, a guy named Terry Dutor is a resident of Aroma Park. He's known Danny Edwards for a shitload of years. He said that while driving home around 5 p.m. on September 2nd, he observed Edwards at a payphone near the Phillips 66 station. There was a vehicle parked near the telephone with a white female with blonde hair sitting in it. The vehicle was parked 6 to 8 feet away from the phone booth, and Edwards had his back to the vehicle as he spoke. So this lines up with the times that phone calls were coming in. This information was given to police and FBI. The police officers familiar with the identity of the car owner and others, they figure out that the woman who owns this car, Risch, fits the description of the blonde-haired woman in the car.
Okay.
And they find out that she lives with her boyfriend, Edwards, and here we go. So police officers begin a surveillance of the residence that they live in here in the evening of September 2nd. At 1:20 a.m. on September 3rd, Risch's automobile, with its trunk partially open, arrives at the residence.
Okay.
Surveillance is established from the parking lot of an apartment complex located 50 to 75 yards away from the residence. Okay. At 1:19 a.m., Agent Russell observes a vehicle with Illinois license plate SZG 507 parked in the driveway of the residence. They identify that car as being the same car they saw in the driveway that was by the booth. So this is the car. It's to the house. No one stole it.
TikTok, motherfuckers. 48 hours is almost up.
That's what I'm saying.
God,
they're doing
so
surveillance. It's like, can we not surveil it? Can we actually try here?
You guys, I'm sitting in a chair and I can't breathe. Let's go.
That's what I mean. What are we doing here? So they watch them for a while. They just keep watching them. They testify later that Edwards removed a bicycle from the trunk of the car. That's why it was partially open. At about 1:40 a.m. the same morning here, Edwards exited the residence and drove off in a white van. The agents followed Edwards, who went to a grocery store and a gas station. He made a phone call at a public payphone at the gas station before returning to the residence. Edwards and Risch were kept under surveillance a little bit more. Once the next morning, their garbage is picked up. And when the garbage is picked up, police pull the garbage truck over later on and ask him to empty his hopper before you go into this guy's neighborhood. Yeah. So we can, come in with a clean truck.
Only one, yeah.
So, so they were stopped at his house. Edwards came out while the garbage man was doing his thing and gave the garbage man an extra bag of trash.
Take this too, yep.
The garbage man threw everything, all the bags that were already on the curb, into the back of the truck. So the cops look at the garbage. This includes a paper bag containing gloves, a receipt to Danny Edwards from Radio Shack for one audio tape cassette and some electrical straps, which are of the type also used by police as handcuffs, like the zip ties.
Yep.
And also observed a caulking gun and a saw. Okay? So they're going to search now, obviously. Yeah. They got to search this house. They got a search warrant and all this type of shit. It's executed September 4th at 10:35 a.m.
Oh, God, it's already too late.
Jesus Christ. They enter the house and immediately, frisk and handcuff everybody. She'll later say, Rish said she, was doing shit with her kids, and then she woke up to a guy with camouflage on with a pistol in her face. So Rish they get her out, they get everybody in here. They take Edwards out of the house, escort him to a police car. They place him in a holding cell, do the same thing with Rish. After this, they search the house, okay? Here's what they find. Okay, flipping through their phone book that they have in the house, they find Small's fucking listing circled.
Oh, God damn it. His address?
His everything. The whole listing is circled.
Oh, no.
The directory obviously is a interesting thing here. They also found maps and notes and shit like that. They were looking for stuff like that. That's why they opened the phone book, to say they were looking through it to see if there's any notes or anything. They also said that they knew that there was a bunch of ransom calls, so how would they know the number? There you go. They also knew that the kidnapper played a tape recording for Mrs. Small over the phone. So the boots, they seized some boots in this deal here, a man's boot that was found in the utility room behind the washer and dryer. Okay. They also take a putty knife with traces of clear glue-like substance, a notebook, and car keys. This is what they do. So they're looking for a gun, also cassette recordings they love, and they'd love to find some bolt cutters as well. And they do, actually. They find all of these things. Everything. Okay?
Lucky.
So he's going to be arrested, obviously, for kidnapping at this point. Now, September 4th, search crews using aircraft are looking for everything. They're going all around where the car was found and all that kind of shit. They have searchers with police dogs, and this is a big search here. So finally, they get Edwards to take them to where the body is, or to where the box is. Mm-hmm. This is actually real. They find him buried 3.5 feet in sandy dirt in a wooden box.
Oh my God! They really buried him.
He's found in there on his back in a red T-shirt and blue jeans. His shoes were off. No visible injuries on him. Small. Uh-huh. He is dead, though. That's a visible injury. A light jacket was rolled up behind his head like a little pillow, and he had been handcuffed, but the handcuffs weren't chained together. That's why they were looking for bolt cutters. So they said he had a little room sideways to move. I would say it was less than 3 feet high, so he couldn't have sat up. So in addition to Small's body in this box, they found a light connected to one of 2 car batteries in there. So he could have a light, a 1-gallon jug of water, candy bars, gum, a flashlight, and PVC piping, which came out of the end of one of the ends of the box. Attached to each of Small's wrists was the handcuffs. There's also superficial abrasions on his legs, and the cause of death is asphyxia due to suffocation.
Oh my God!
They rigged up a 20-foot section of 1.5-inch PVC pipe for a ventilation system. But they did not drill a hole in the box so that the pipe could enter the inside of the box. What? That's the part they messed up. Instead, they cut slits inside of the box and had run the pipe to the slits.
Oh dear God!
So he's got some slits, and it's like
get his mouth to the slits and then suck in if he wanted to breathe.
A medical examiner said apparently the air supply was just not sufficient. It wasn't like sealed off in there.
Yeah.
They said before we can even do an autopsy, it looks like he probably suffocated because of the situation he was in. They said that they don't believe he lived more than an hour after he was put in the box. They said there's no sign of a struggle. He didn't freak out in there or anything. They said he probably lost consciousness due to the lack of air.
Yeah, right.
Thought he was
my fucking mind scratching to get out.
Oh
of there.
my God. Gee, he just relaxed. It's crazy.
Poor guy.
So they said, it was a homemade wooden box, by the way. We'll talk about that. Holy shit. They said he was definitely buried alive. It was 3 feet wide, 3 feet high, 6 feet long, and contained all the shit we just told you about, which is insane. Now,
that's
there's a lot
fucked up.
That's so fucked up. They buried this guy and just left him to die in a box, and
gave him a pipe that didn't go through the box to breathe.
Yeah, to breathe,
Jeez.
and told him you got 48 hours of air. Like it's a scientific experiment. They said, and they had 48 hours of air should. Yeah, that's the conclusion they came to.
48 minutes of air, you jerks.
Pretty much. So they said Edwards' fingerprints were found on both the PVC piping and duct tape recovered from the burial box.
Uh-oh.
Sand scraped from a pair of boots found behind the washer and dryer at their house, as well as sand recovered from the interior of their van, matched the sand sample taken from the burial site. White caulking material found on gloves recovered from Edwards and Rish's trash had the same chemical composition as the sample of white caulking material taken from the burial box. Mm-hmm. Not good. Also, it's not good because at the time, George Ryan, the lieutenant governor of the state you're in at the time, said that Mr. Small was a kind, gentle guy. He lived down the street from him and knew him well.
The lieutenant governor knows the man.
You are fucked. You
Absolutely.
picked the wrong guy. A gentle guy, a good neighbor, and we're going to miss him in the Ryan household. He was close to all of my kids, and they had a good relationship with Steve. Everybody here is saddened by his death. He guessed that drugs were at the root of all of this. In a lot of drug cases, they get desperate for money, he said. This is more elaborate.
Speculate on TV.
Yeah. So they get Nancy in here, and for between the days of September 4th and September 8th, she will give 8 different statements to the police.
Really?
Yep. They held her at the station. She requested, by the way, a specific attorney, a J. Scott Swaim, who had previously represented her because, she's been in trouble before. Yeah. And so she did that. What she didn't know, though, was that Swaim was friends with Small. So for the next 4 days, they questioned Rish with her attorney here, who wants her to get caught, pretty much.
Yeah,
so this
he wants
is not,
to know everything. Yeah.
8 statements were eliciting her shit here. Here we go. September 4th, 87, 11 a.m. She denies knowing anything about any ransom call made from Aroma Park during the night of September 7th or September 2nd. She indicates that at about 11 p.m. on September 2nd, she and Edwards went to Edwards' friend Jack's house in her car to get her bicycle repaired. On the way there, they stopped at a phone booth located near a gas station where Edwards got out and called Jack to see if he was home. Okay, now, at this point, they advised her for her Miranda rights, which they should have done to begin with because she was being surveilled because her car was, come on, Jesus Christ.
And she's chattering. Let's get all of this on the record.
Yeah, so she indicated that after Edwards called Jack, they drove past Jack's house. Because there were no lights on, they kept going. She states then that Edwards told her Jack wasn't home because he was working on a second shift. So as to the events the day before, September 1st, 1987, she said that she had been home until 5. She took her son to football practice, picked him up at 7, and helped him with his homework until 10:30. She did not know if Edwards had gone anywhere that evening because she slept upstairs and he slept downstairs on the couch. I couldn't have anything less to do with the guy, really. We barely know each other, if I'm being honest with you. We're ships in the night.
On the couch sometimes, yeah.
She indicated that she wanted to terminate her interview and consult with the attorney, and that's when she brought the other attorney in. So, 2:30 p.m., September 4th, they resume questioning, counsel present now. She, this time, indicates that on Sunday, the 30th of August, so a couple of days before that, at 6:30 p.m., she had a call from someone who asked for Danny. When she asked the identity, he stated, "What's it to you?" and hung up. She said the same kind of call occurred again on September 1st. She said at 10:30 p.m. September 1st that Edwards left their house in his van. She went out to look for him at 11:30 because she thought he was cheating on her. I will find him and cut his tires. I swear to God, he is done for.
Who is this man that's calling you in the middle of the night?
God damn it. He's fucking someone ugly. I heard the voice. Ugly. She returned without finding him at about midnight. She indicated she left the residence again between 1:30 and 2 to look for him again. God damn.
Lord.
He must be a cheating motherfucker. So,
hasn't she got a kid in the house?
Yeah. He's sleeping, though. It's good. Edwards was at the residence when she returned. He was home. And he's like, where you been in the middle of the night? You been out fucking somebody? And we have a real circular argument then. So during the afternoon of September 2nd, she took her dog to get nails clipped. She repeated her account of taking the bike to Jack's house, adding that they passed Jack's house, drove to a gas station where he made the phone call. It took, according to her, about an hour and a half for them to travel from the gas station in Aroma Park to the one in Kankakee. She also said that on the morning of September 3rd, Edwards left the residence for breakfast. She asked...
How do they have time? They're just so busy.
So busy, Jesus. So the cops asked her to take them on the same route she and Edwards had traveled on the 2nd. The route they took to the phone booth was the same one she described and blah, blah, blah. So she did all of that. But the route that she took from that payphone to the one at the Marathon gas station was a completely different one than she described in her statement.
Okay.
So that's not great. A ground search of the area around Aroma Park showed several items here. These items consisted of several feet of cassette tape, several small pieces of cassette tape, like someone broke it and spread it out.
Ripped it up.
One side of a Radio Shack brand cassette tape housing, the other side of a cassette tape housing, and a bag containing pieces of a tape and one cassette tape.
Mm-hmm.
September 4th at 7 p.m., they come back to the station after their little ride here. The police asked her to give another statement. She added that when she went to look for Edwards a second time, that she looked in the Aroma Park area and didn't see him. September 6th, noon. Okay, so she's now advised, look, we found the guy's body.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was just a kidnapping up to that point.
Right.
So they ask her if she knows anything about a box. And she said, well, actually, Edwards had been building a large wooden box in the garage for a while now.
Okay.
Which you didn't know. No. Hey, what's that? Hey, why are you building a coffin in the garage? Any particular reason?
And also, why is it not there anymore?
Yeah. Ladies, guys, you see your partner and they're in the garage building a large coffin-shaped box. Ask questions.
And when it disappears, ask where it went.
Where the fuck did that go? She said that Edwards had given her two reasons for building the box. First, that he was going to give it to his brother.
Yeah.
Okay. The second was that it was going to be used to store firewood. Yeah. He also will say he'll tell the police that in June or May of '87, Edwards he said he sold the box to a heavy-set black man who had purchased their dryer. And he also wants a huge box.
Can I also have a coffin?
Yeah. And well, you know what? I want dry clothes and somewhere for my eternal fucking remains to be. My eternal resting place and a dry fucking shirt. So she then indicated that after she and Edwards picked up the dog from the groomers, Edwards directed her to the Phillips 66 gas station in Aroma Park, where he made a phone call at 5 p.m. September 7th, 87, 11 a.m. She states that after she and Edwards dropped the dog off at the groomer at 2 p.m., Edwards asked her if she wanted to see some horses. Then they drove to a place where some black people own a rodeo, quote unquote.
Okay.
Which I'm not believing that right off the bat. No. Ma'am, your story is clearly flawed.
Story's full of holes.
Yeah. So those are very different accounts of the same day.
Yeah.
too.
Why does she keep...
It's almost like she's lying. It's super weird.
Right. Why does she keep inserting so many black people into her story, too?
Yeah, there's everybody except her and her fucking...
trying to appear so progressive.
Yeah. I just wanted to go to this black rodeo, support... We like to support black-owned businesses, and we figure a rodeo really needs it. So,
and then we were selling this dryer, and we refused to sell it to anybody but a black guy.
You know what? We gave him a good price, too, because we're just those kind of people.
And we threw in a coffin.
And we said, you know what? You're going to need somewhere to bury somebody sometime. So they know that she denies knowing anything about a tape recorder being used in any of the calls made by Edwards. So she said, I saw him make these calls, but he didn't have a tape recorder up to the phone. She started to cry and dropped her head into her hands when she was told that her fingerprints were on a tape recorder that they had found.
Uh-oh.
Which, let's say they weren't on there.
Right.
And they just said that to see how her reaction would be if she went.
Crying ain't good.
The fuck you talking? If she went, oh God, that means that was pretty easy to crack you there.
Also, I got a feeling you don't know a single black person, Nancy.
Nope. There's a lot of lies in here, Nance. Let's talk about this. Nance, we're going to sit down and just talk about your inability to tell the truth. Then we'll get into this whole murder kidnap thing. But we got to start with something more simple. She then indicated that she had in fact lied about the tape recorder and that Edward's son had left it in their duplex and she had moved it either upstairs or downstairs. That's all. That's why her fingerprints are on it. Not because she has anything to do with this, even though she was sobbing.
I'd like to go home.
Yeah. She also testified that she'll testify later, there's an old car battery in the duplex and that Edwards had purchased another one from a junkyard on August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So they complete the interrogation by telling her that her son had indicated that he had seen the box in the garage on August 30th and said, you said he sold it in June. So Are you a liar or is your son a liar?
Oh, boy.
One, he is a liar. And she was like, let me think about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Or actually in a couple hours. So at 8:30 p.m., they talked to her again. She now admits that the box wasn't sold to a black man.
Right.
That's not true. I'm sorry. That's my bad. And that the last time she saw it was on August 31st, so the 2 days before. She indicated that during the afternoon of September 1st, Edwards took her to a location where he wanted her to pick him up at 3 a.m. the next morning. Okay. So later on September 1st or early September 2nd, Edwards had her follow him to Greenwood Avenue. He got into a car and had her drive him south to Cobb Park. Cobb Park's located 1 block away from the small residence. She went home and picked him up from the above-mentioned location at 3 a.m. She drove him back to his van, parked on Greenwood Avenue, where that detective saw it, or that officer saw it, and then returned home. She said Edwards was already there when she arrived. She said she never got out of the car on September 2nd to look at horses, rather just dropped Edwards off and picked him up about an hour later. There was no horses. I'm just kidding.
There were no horses and no black people. Ever.
No black people or horses here. Total myths. The myth of black people and horses should be the name of this fucking episode. So she said she saw the tape recorder now in the car the night of September 2nd, 87. Now she's seen it. Yeah. And that Edwards took it with him when he went to make his 11:30 p.m. phone call. She said she told police that the tape recorder was discarded, but when the area was searched, it wasn't recovered. And he was telling her, like, yeah, don't worry about it. The tape recorder's gone. So she thought it was gone. 11:30 p.m., between the 11:30 p.m. phone call and 11:50 p.m. phone call, they stopped along Pottinger Road where Edwards hid a duffel bag and some evergreens. She said that instead of going to breakfast on September 3rd, Edwards went out and picked up the duffel bag. So she lied before. So she said every new statement is a complete repudiation of her last statement. She also said that on 30th, she and Edwards got into an argument when she returned late to their residence. Edwards ran upstairs, got a gun, pointed it at his head, and indicated he was going to kill her. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Point it to your own head and said, I'll kill you. Okay. But she said, he said, I'm going to kill you, your son, and me. All of us. We're all going to die tonight. You first, though. September 8th at 9:30 a.m., she adds to her story that in the early morning hours of September 2nd, after she followed Edwards to Greenwood Avenue and picked him up, she drove him to the Phillips 66 station in Kankakee, where he made the phone call at about 12:30. So she's filling in the timeline.
Yep, sure is.
She wants to be believed is what it is. Mm-hmm. So she also admitted that there was a pair of bolt cutters at her duplex and she knew about it and blah, blah, blah. So September 8th in the evening, she indicated that there wasn't a pair of bolt cutters at her duplex.
What?
Yes. And she stated that Edwards pointed the gun at her head, not his head, during the argument.
Okay.
So in a few hours, it changed. Multiple things changed.
So many times.
A steel tool wasn't someplace it actually was. And also, rather than point the gun at him, he pointed it at her. So she is obviously going to trial here.
Yeah, she's in a lot of trouble. Even though she's trying to make herself far too busy to be doing kidnappings and phone calls and such. My God, this woman doesn't sit still.
There's more where she details exactly what she did in her first statements. It's fucking asinine. Every little thing. I was here, then I was there. I went and picked up some lozenges for my sister. I took my son here. I took the dog there. I visited with this one. I went over here. She's
an errand running son of a bitch.
Errand running motherfucker. So, she does successfully separate. They get her trial severed from Edward's trial, and they get her a change of venue as well.
Okay.
So Karen Thacker, who's a former neighbor of Stephen, testified that approximately 8 to 10 times during the summer of '87, she saw a light-colored van with a tire on the back, which looked like Edward's van, drive through the alley which separates her home from the Small residence. This is not... Yeah.
That car kept going through the alley?
Through the alley. They were trying to figure something out. God. One morning in August, this Mrs. Thacker saw a van stopped in the middle of the alley, facing the front of the van from a distance of about 5 feet. Mrs. Thacker saw a white, blonde-haired woman sitting in the passenger seat and a white man in the driver's seat.
Uh-huh.
Then the attention was focused on the woman, she said, who first looked at her, then the driver, then finally back to her again. Okay. She's got some... This is what they say, like on The Wire when you're watching, and they're driving through, and one of the corner guys, quote, "I fucks him for 1 second too long." That's what this is.
Yeah.
It's, look and look away, and that's normal. Look away, look back, look away, look back again is not good.
I fucking the hell out of both of them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So she said, this Thacker said that that the woman looked startled. Thacker also said that she saw the van on earlier occasions, and she noticed then as well it was occupied by a man and a blonde woman. So she's not that busy to go for fucking surveillance rides. She also testified, Thacker, that the day after she discovered that Stephen Small had been kidnapped and murdered, she informed a law enforcement official of what she had seen, and all that kind of thing. So another woman, Carolyn Mortel, a friend of the Small family and a resident of the same block as the Smalls, said that from her den window, she's able to see the Small residence. At approximately 11 a.m., September 2nd, '87, she was looking out her den window when she saw a white van with large vertical windows on the driver's side proceeding toward her home. The van stopped at the intersection in front of her home, and she saw that it was occupied by just one person, a woman in her late 20s or early 30s with blonde hair and makeup on. The woman seemed to be looking around the area. As Mortel continued to watch, the van turned left and proceeded toward the Small home. Later that afternoon, between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m., they saw the same van once or twice again in the same area, proceeding toward the Small home. So, yes, it's a lot. And this woman identified both Edwards and Risch here. She was asked to view a series of photographs of women who had their faces covered by tape because she said she didn't get a real good look at the face. The purpose was to determine whether she could select the hairstyle of the woman driving the van. So she did pick the right one. She picked the right hair. She knows her hair. So, wow. Risch is found guilty here of first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping.
Oh, shit.
She is sentenced to, you, ma'am, may fuck off, natural life for the murder and 30 years for aggravated kidnapping.
Oh, my.
Not great
for
her. Edwards here, the prosecution argues that candy bars, lights, and water, along with the plastic pipe that they claimed was for air, were used to lure him into the box.
Oh.
Like, look, it's safe. Look, it's just 48 hours.
Food and...
It's going to be great in there.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
We're taking care. This is totally a ransom thing. We don't want to lose you.
We just want the money. We don't want you dead.
Yep. They said, quote, Danny Edwards needed Stephen Small to make those tape recordings because that's what he had to do. If he didn't volunteer, he said so, and get in that box without a fight. So several witnesses saw Edwards constructing a wooden box in his garage during the summer. He gave various explanations for what he was doing with the box, saying that it would be used for a lemonade stand. I'm going to sell lemonade by the side of the road. That's what it's used for.
Like Wednesday Addams. I want it scary.
Or for his brother for transporting things, or at his brother's pool in Florida, because you need a big box next to your pool. It's very important. Very important to have a huge box next to the pool. So while they were visiting a boat store that summer, Edwards saw Stephen Small leaving the store in a sports car, and he was heard to say by other people, "Boy, it sure would be nice to be able to afford stuff like that." Mm-hmm. Because he was pulling away from the boat store in his Ferrari, small one.
All I need is $1 million. $1
million. These two remind me, by the way, they just remind me of Raising Arizona. That's all I keep thinking of. When I picture these two people, I keep thinking of them. Right? Don't you picture that? Yeah. It's fucking.
What was her name? Ed. H.I. and Ed.
H.I. and Ed. So they said a person who owed Edwards money had a pair of handcuffs stolen from him, and that was the same pair later discovered on Stephen Small. Another person who owed Edwards money had a gun stolen, and when it was found by investigators in the countryside near Aroma Park, it was that guy's gun.
That guy, yeah.
Edwards purchased a battery that was found in the wooden box. Bolt cutters belonging to a company owned by Edwards' brother were found at a point between where the box was uncovered and where the car was found.
He just steals everything.
Just steals shit and uses it. Closing arguments here for this. They say that the defense tries to say they were going to let this person out, and this was best intentions just for a ransom. He said, quote, "I never saw anybody come out of a grave, though."
Great point.
You didn't have to bury him.
Point.
Yeah. Just put him in a box and lock him in there. He said, "Take a good long look," as they had the plywood crate in court. Look at it. He said, "Danny Edwards greed for the big score, drove those nails, dug that grave, and buried Stephen Small alive. All Danny boy had to do was cash in on that jackpot that was Stephen Small in a box." He said, "Just put him in a box." He said he took the American dream and turned it into an Edgar Allan Poe nightmare.
Jesus.
Which it is. He said Edwards was a man who made greed his god. Shit, that's rough. Defense attorney said, "Listen, the faulty air system caused the death." He said, but he pointed out that, he was buried with candy bars, lights, water. Nobody harmed him. They didn't beat the shit out of him. The defense attorney said, "It's an accident, but it's not an intentional murder."
He gave him a Butterfinger.
Come on, look at that. He's got Snickers in there. It satisfies. He was totally fine. I gave him gum afterwards, keep his ears from popping. I'm a good guy.
How hard must this be for that attorney? Poor bastard.
Right? I mean, so then the redo here from the prosecution recloses, quote, "You don't make a box by accident. Right. Stephen Small didn't wander by and fall in."
Exactly.
That's pretty fair. Verdict comes back in 63 minutes, which is just enough time to fill those forms out. That is tough.
So fast.
Yes, because this is a death penalty case. So a couple more forms, and they find him guilty of murder and abduction. And he is going to be found, let's see here, you, sir, may fuck off, death penalty.
Holy.
Yeah, he got the old death penalty.
Oh, boy.
Later on, it will be commuted in 2003 to life without parole when Governor Ryan commutes all the sentences to life without parole. So even the guy's friend, that's interesting. Now, 2015, somehow Risch has convinced him, I don't know what's going on or whatever's going on here, he gives a deposition, Edwards, detailing his involvement in the crime, and he now says he threatened Risch to force her to drive him and pick him up, saying he'd shoot her and her young son if he didn't comply. If she didn't comply. Trying to get her free. Meanwhile, she was seen doing so much surveillance on this. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
So 2021, Risch's lawyers have a new tactic here because there was a change in the law in 2015. And they said that Risch's lawyer said her conduct over more than 3 decades behind bars shows she's not a cruel person. She's used these many years to help others, urge women to go to school, go to church, to get training, to avail themselves of the programming that's available. They said despite being convicted of a heinous crime, she did not knowingly commit. She has not given up. She has not wasted these years. She's tried to use them for good. Yes. They said that the new law allows people convicted of felonies to challenge their sentences if they can prove their crimes were linked to being domestic abuse victims.
Okay.
So they're like, So the attorney general, the guy who co-sponsored the law, actually said he opposes Rish's request because, her life term was based on the horrific nature of the crime in which she played an integral part. So, this has nothing to do with that, is what he says. February 2022, she gets her life sentence cut to 70 years with the possibility of parole. Based on that law, they resentence her. Her lawyers asked to reduce her term based on that law. She's 60 years old. They reduced her sentence to 70 years, time served, parole.
She went home.
She is out as of February 2022. At the resentencing hearing, she apologized to Small's family, saying the day he was kidnapped was, quote, the most horrendous day of my life.
Yours?
Right. I mean, that is it's fine to say I didn't want to do it, but she said, I did not knowingly participate in the murder of Mr. Small. However, I do know I am responsible for my actions. And the Small family did not object to her being let out because they were told. Right? Yeah. So there you go. That is Kankakee, Illinois, and that is, wow.
Not fair.
She was seen for a month and change surveilling the house, man. Like
alone in the van.
Alone in the van, sometimes with him, surveilling the house. She knew exactly what was going on.
Absolutely.
Why would he tell her the same bullshit he told the Small family? No, I'm building them a box. It'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean? It's tough. And she was with him for all the phone calls where she said, I wasn't with him. All the agents saw her with him. I don't like that so much. So that's tough. So either way, if you like that story or don't like it, let us know about it.
Yeah.
Head over to whatever app you're listening on. Give us 5 stars because it really, really does help a lot. It helps drive the show up the charts. So thank you for doing that. Also, follow us on social media. We're at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Murder Small on Twitter. Make sure you do that. Make sure you're listening to Crime and Sports as well. Obviously. And look out for our new show, Your Stupid Opinions, coming very soon. We'll give you closer to it. We'll give you exact dates. So make sure to get in there. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get tickets to all the live shows available for the rest of the year, as well as get in for the virtual live show, 420. It's available for a week after that as well. April 20th. I'm getting Jimmie stoned, and we're going to tell you a great murder story, just like a regular live show, but you're in your living room. So make sure to get that. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of your bonus materials. Holy hell. Everything there. 150 plus back episodes. Anybody $5 or above, you're going to get access to all that bonus stuff, including every other week. You're going to get 2 new episodes. This week, no different. For Crime and Sports, which you get access to, the murder of Bruiser Brody. So the wrestler will make it funny. It'll be good stuff, even though it was terribly tragic and sad. Then, for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about haunted hotels. That's a lot of fun. That's a fun subject. I can't wait for that. What's out there? I've stayed in a couple of them. I know one's going to be the Peary in Salt Lake City, because that's on all the lists, and I've stayed in the Peary, in the part that's haunted. So it's fucking creepy. Awesome hotel, but creepy. I can't wait. We'll talk all about it. Don't worry. How can you hear it? Patreon.com/crime and sports. Get in there right now, and you'll get a shout out at the end of the regular show. If you want to get a hold of us for any reason whatsoever, very easy to do that. By the way, emails, if you want to send any cases, research at shutupandgivememurder.com. A lot of people have asked us that. So do that. crimeandsports@gmail.com is how you get a hold of the show like that. Also, how you can donate on PayPal as well. You use that. Definitely do your Patreon. And as well, follow us on social media. Links to that for individual social media accounts are on the goddamn site. Right there, shutupandgivememurder.com. This was a crazy-ass episode. I'm glad we did this one. There was a movie that reminds me of this, by the way, and I can't remember what it is. But in the movie, the guy, makes a phone call from a buried box in the beginning. It's from, the early 2000s, the aughts in some way, shape, or form. I remember having an agent tell me when I was trying to pitch a screenplay that that's a good idea for a screenplay, is that one. It's like,
not
well,
yours. Not
that one's already.
bullshit.
Yeah, that's what he did. I said, well, that one's already written, dipshit.
Right.
So
Can
I
you
feel
do
like
that
it's-
again in your
yeah,
way?
based on that. So anyway, thank you for doing that. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for following us, hanging with us, buying tickets, buying shirts, buying
You're
crap,
amazing.
reading books, doing it all. Thank you so much. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.